So hello and welcome to this edition of the CCDP Studio Series. I'm Catherine Guccini and today I'm joined by Oliver Jütersonke and Hanan Salama. So thank you both for being here and taking the time to share about your work. Today's episode will focus on the CCDP's contributions to the Graduate Institute's Executive Education Programme and specifically on the Conflict and Fragility Management course, which from here on we can refer to as CFM, just to save some time. So I won't reveal too much now as I want to really hear from you both. So maybe we can start by, if you could just tell us about the CFM specialization and your respective roles in it.
Wonderful. Oliver, would you like to start, or?
Why don't you, Hanan, as the academic coordinator of it?
Thank you very much, Oliver. So thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's the first time I'm doing this with Oliver, being filmed by the CCDP. Well, my name is Hanan Salama. I'm the academic coordinator of the CFM program in this executive education program, development policies and practices. My role until now was actually to work with Oliver from the CCDP in designing actually the content of the CFM program. We're doing this in partnership with the CCDP, but also with our regional partner, which is actually the American University of Central Asia. And one of the reasons why we're actually implementing this program in partnership also with the American University of Central Asia, which is actually located in Bishkek, is that by locating our CFM hub in Bishkek, we're actually also offering our participants the opportunity to go for field visits, to actually visit projects that are actually existing in Bishkek or the surrounding in Bishkek. We've actually also in the past had the opportunity to fly to Osh, which is actually in the south of Kyrgyzstan. So that is one of the advantages of actually being in Kyrgyzstan, in Bishkek. The other advantage of working with the American University of Central Asia too is that we also have professors that are teaching in the disciplines that are similar to the ones of the Graduate Institute and also complementing disciplines taught and researched by the CCDP. What I do therefore is work with Oliver in designing the program, but I also coordinate the interventions of lecturers and select the participants that actually take part in the CFM course. That's to summarize basically what I do in a nutshell. Oliver, what about you? What do you do when you work with me?
Thanks very much, Hanan. Well, first of all, what I do is be a very proud partner of this program. The CCDP has been, as Hanan just mentioned, been part of the Conflict and Fragility Management specialization since its start. This is 3 years ago, within the parameters of the Executive Master in Development Policies and Practices, the DPP, directed by another CCDP faculty associate, Alexandre Dormain-Frey, and this has been a long-standing collaboration with him over the years, which then 3 years ago led to this specialization. And I think the CCDP is a very proud partner together with ALSA of it. And it really tries to showcase some of the work that we do at the CCDP through some of our bigger research projects, as well as some of our more mandate related work we do with some international organizations that just starts to generate training materials and curricula for field practitioners in the humanitarian sector, in development and peace building. And it's great that now some of that knowledge and some of those materials is being fed into one of the flagship programs of the Graduate Institute, the DPP program, through this specialization. So it's really a great opportunity, I think, for us as a center to also showcase what we're all about. And for some of us, not just me, but a lot of my fabulous colleagues, to participate in the teaching, in the supervision of the applied master's theses and all the other workshops and conferences that form part of what the DPP program is offering. Catherine.
That's brilliant. No, thank you both for sharing. I think that's given everyone a good idea of what the course is and who's involved and who does what. But I'd be curious to know what kind of participants are taking part in this executive master's degree, and I don't know, would you know some of their aims and motivations? How does this facilitate them going forward?
It's a key component, indeed, Catherine, in our selection process. We do, when we first receive the applications from our participants to the CFM program, engage in an interview at a later stage. That's one of the second step of the selection process, in which we definitely actually discuss with them what are their fields of expertise, what are their expectations with regard to the program, as well as actually what is their DPP thesis topic that they would like to write about. Because one of the flagship of the Development Policies and Practices program that we have actually also reiterated in the CFM program is writing a professional thesis. And the professional thesis is actually basically inviting the participants to delve into a specific topic that is completely obviously related to their professional work, their field of expertise, or either a field in which they would actually like to aspire in the future and work there in the future, basically, let's say it that way. So we do throughout these interview try to understand what is exactly that they're expecting from the CFM, which actually also helps us understand if they fall under the disciplines that we're teaching in the CFM program. But most of the participants that are applying are basically development, all workers, employees, either working for international organization, working for civil society, working for the private sector, public sector, even sometimes diplomats that apply, that are actually having development portfolios, but development portfolios in protracted crisis. They work actually in fragile settings, because the DPP program have existed for approximately 15 to 17 years. And what we've noticed is that we've had more and more actually participants that actually live in fragile context and protracted crisis, and development work doesn't look the same now today in those fragile contexts, and we had to do something about it. And that's one of the reasons why we actually turned towards the CCDP and actually designed a program that was a little bit more specific, oriented towards understanding the factors of fragility, understanding how to navigate all those complexities. Therefore, if you want me to speak about the participants that we have this year, we're very lucky because we've managed actually to cover a lot of regions. We have participants from Central Asia, for instance, Afghani participants. We have participants coming from Africa, Egypt, Botswana, Kenya, Nigeria. We have also an Asian participants that, for instance, works for the ICRC. And we also have participants that come from the US, Canada, or Switzerland, of course, obviously. So that actually gives us a very, very diverse a group of participants, and that obviously actually contributes to a lot of exchanges and different perspectives too. I don't know, Oliver, if you would like to add on.
Yeah, thanks very much, Hanan. Just maybe very briefly, just to emphasize that it is an executive master. So it is for mid-career professionals who are taking quite a lot of time from their very busy schedules to undertake this program. It's a program over 9 months. It is quite intense. The first module in normal circumstances is already 4.5, 5 weeks of full time. So it's about them negotiating a lot of time off with their employers in order to do this, and really also seeking the buy-in of their respective organizations so that they understand that this is not just something one of their employees does on the side, but that it is beneficial to the workings of them and their respective employers. So especially the applied thesis that they write, we spend a lot of time thinking with them about what the topic could be, so that it has a bearing on their professional setting, that hopefully there are some themes that and conclusions and findings coming out of that research that they can take back to their workplace and apply there further. And I think that's really one of the strengths of the DPP program, that it has a big alumni network now of almost 1,000 participants who stay in touch and who have themselves been hopefully furthering their careers by taking on this considerable task. So I think that's really also what makes it for us different than some of the other teaching programs that we're used to at the Graduate Institute here. It's a different audience. It's a very motivated audience. Obviously, the program is also not for free, so people are investing, or their employers are investing quite a bit of money into this, and all of this means also that it's very much an engaging schedule and an engaging group of people. And I certainly feel like I learn loads by interacting with them, and it's a really enriching experience. Catherine?
Definitely, Oliver, if I may just add on, Catherine, is that
Yeah, sure.
we do follow up on these actually participants. We contact their employers, you know, a year or two after that to ask them if actually their professional thesis has been used, if the employer has actually used the finding of the study, and therefore definitely when Oliver says that that the program is very different and special in that sense. We do monitor if we manage actually to make a change by working with the participants on their professional thesis. So with the evaluation, we do have the impression that it works because we do actually hunt our participant and the employers a few years later on after their participation.
That's brilliant. It sounds like it's really I guess just a tool for facilitating just a brilliant bridge between academia or theory and practice and real world stuff that people are working on. And I think that's incredible, because I think it shows kind of the going beyond of the CCDP as a research center, and actually how it's really impacting practice and practitioners and people in their day-to-day work. That's brilliant to hear. I wonder if you could tell us a bit more about, you know, with the current COVID situation, have things had to change? How is the course normally delivered? And have you had to make any significant adaptations? How's that been? It's been a crazy year, but yeah, how have you guys found that?
I don't know, Oliver, would you like to start on that since you lectured throughout the week?
Well, okay, Hanan, I can give it a go. Certainly, it has been a transformation. Usually, the program starts with a 5-week intensive face-to-face module, which in our case happens with our local partner in Bishkek, the American University of Central Asia, as Hanan mentioned. It usually happens in the summer. It starts in July, August, and then the program goes on until January, February. And this summer, obviously, all of that was put to a halt, which is why we had to wait and wait and wait till finally make the difficult call to put the entire module online, which is why it is happening this week and next week here from Geneva, although all our participants from all the countries Hanan just mentioned obviously are back home and staying there, and we are doing all of this virtually and trying to, as much as possible, nonetheless facilitate interactions, not just between us and them, but amongst themselves as well, which I think has really been always the strength of the program, that this also creates all these linkages across regions, across different walks of life. So we're hoping that this can nonetheless go ahead. People have been very enthusiastic. I have to admit, during the sessions, it's long for everyone to spend 4 or even more hours per day on a Zoom call or any other sort of form of online platform. But Hanan and I were saying the other day actually how much engagement there is also on the chat function. So maybe there is a silver lining to all of this, because people do formulate their thoughts as we go along in the seminars and in the sessions that we organize. And I think that is nonetheless luckily technology these days allows us to have these kind of exchanges. I have no idea how we would have done this 10 years ago, to be honest. But at least for the moment, therefore, we're trying to do this online, splitting this first 5-week module in half. So 2 weeks this month, and then the other 3 months will happen later in the spring. Also, obviously, still with the hope that maybe things will have improved by then, so that perhaps something face-to-face is possible. The program now going on until July. And again, it's just one step at a time, seeing whether any of this can still be happening face-to-face. In between, there is lots of e-learning anyway, so that would be as usual. And then obviously the participants have to go off and write their own applied theses, which usually happen in their workplace setting anyway. So that again is something they would have done at a distance from us, with our support online. So some of the things some of the elements have remained constant, but certainly this first online module is something we haven't done before. And the last module, module 3, when everyone is then invited to Geneva for more sessions to get a feel of the Graduate Institute, the Maison de la Paix, and then also to receive their degree and their certificate. This is obviously also another last step that we have to see whether we can have happen, or whether that will remain online as well. So some significant challenges, fingers crossed. But I think so far, I've been saying to Hanan over the last few days, it's been remarkable how much initiative and energy the participants have been bringing to these endless Zoom calls. and hopefully that will continue into next week, and we can nonetheless produce a meaningful program for all these wonderful people.
Yeah. Indeed, Oliver, I mean, the program relies on very distinctive pedagogies, and we've been splitting hairs actually to try to adapt it to the realities of online teaching and learning. And with the presentation of, I mean, how Oliver has presented, you know, the different modules, the fact that we had face-to-face distant learning, and then bringing everybody to Geneva, that had that had their pedagogical purposes, actually, basically. And we do hope that we will be able to provide our participants with these experiences. However, going online has its challenges. We used to have control over the learning environment of our participants by deciding how the classes are going to take place, and where we're actually accommodating them, and what kind of interactions they had. But today, with the technology that we have at our disposal, for instance, Zoom, we only have control on our end what we are teaching, but we don't have control on the learning environment in which the participants are. They are actually all respectively calling either from home, from their offices, some of them actually trying to juggle between their work and family obligations. So that is something that we can't control, and we've put a lot of weight on them to make sure that they're in a good setting to learn. But so far, we've seen very motivated participants, and we're very happy. I do hope that next week we'll get the same type of motivation.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, I do hope the same for you guys. And I think this has been brilliant to hear, just like, you know, a window into the world of CFM and how everything works. And yeah, I mean, I wish you guys good luck for the coming weeks and months, and yeah, fingers crossed as well that hopefully there will be some form of face-to-face interaction. But I'm sure you guys are doing, yeah, fantastic with engaging everyone, and yeah, it sounds like you have great participants. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Thank you very much, Catherine. And as a last word of promotion, the call is out. You can already apply for next year's program. So if anyone is watching this who might be interested, please go on the website of the Executive Education Division of the Graduate Institute /DPP/CFM. It's all there /conflict. And you'll find more details of what it is that we're aiming for here, and maybe we'll be back to normal, so to speak, in a post-COVID world, perhaps, or not.
The new normal.
Next
like
summer.
everybody's saying.
A new normal. So I'm looking forward to receiving lots of feedback from everyone.
Yeah, we'll make sure the link is very clear and posted on the YouTube channel for everyone to sign up.
Fabulous.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, Catherine.